All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. I did a live stream earlier today, and there was something that I forgot to include in that presentation, and it's been irking me all day, so I want to cover that now. And that is the relation that has been brought to our attention through the mainstream media between George Floyd, who was reportedly killed Memorial Day in Minneapolis by a police officer who unnecessarily kept his knee on the back of his neck, but this relationship between George Floyd and the musician DJ Screw, who died years ago. And both of these men, entertainers from Houston, Texas. And in light of it being brought up that George Floyd is a rapper who had connections with a mainstream artist who had a fair amount of commercial success, there's an important layer that needs to be peeled back in this ritual. And if you're new here, we're going to talk about Gematria. We talk about the number 46 and the number 38 very often in regards to dead rappers. And when we first covered this story, we talked about 46 and 38, but we didn't realize that George Floyd was considered a rapper. The reason 46 and 38 matter to rappers, again, George Floyd was 46 years old, reportedly, and he was also reportedly killed on 38th Street in Minneapolis. The reason these numbers matter is because what they represent. In Gematria, 46 equals sacrifice. It also equals the word rap, and they come together a lot. 38, the word rapper equals 38. The word death equals 38. Murder 38. Killing 38. RIP 38. The state of Minnesota happens to sum to 38. And, two of the biggest deaths in hip-hop history, Tupac Shakur, Notorious B.I.G., they both died on dates with 38 numerology. One of the bigger hip-hop deaths this year was Pop Smoke, and one of the key 38s in that story was his rap name, Pop Smoke's 38, but also the story was that he was renting the house of John Mellencamp's daughter, who was 38 years old at the time. And they included that in the mainstream stories, telling you that the daughter's 38, just like they tell you that George Floyd was killed on 38th Street, because these numbers have symbolism. But beyond that, I went back and looked at the death of DJ Screw, because he's another entertainer who died young. He died at the age of 29, November 16th, 2000. And notice his birthday was July 20th. From his birthday to his death that year was 119 days later. And we've been talking about this number with George Floyd because George Floyd equals 119. And now these men are being united in headlines because they made music together. And these are the type of patterns that we see. So DJ Screw dies 119 days after his birthday, who made music with the rapper George Floyd, whose name equaled 119, who's now dead. And remember, the same day that George Floyd died, the other story of racism in the headlines that's being paired with this story is the story of Amy Cooper in Central Park in New York, who was choking out her dog while calling the police on a black man, as they put it, who was watching birds in the park. And again, choking her dog while George Floyd's getting choked out, Central Park equals 119. If you missed the video we did earlier today, we talked about how Amy equals 39, George equals 39, Gemini equals 39, George Floyd dead in the Twin Cities, Gemini the twins, rituals, numerology, dates, astrology, gematria. When you understand these things, you see how these rituals come together, because that's what they are. Of course, Fraternal Order of Police is 119. The word fraternal is 58. And the man who's responsible for killing George Floyd is Derek Chauvin, whose name equals 58, like Freemasonry, like Rosicrucian, like Secret Society, like Benjamin Crump, the Boule, and Prince Hall, Mason lawyer, who's represented Trayvon Martin, whose father was a Mason, who's represented Michael Brown, who's represented Tamir Rice, all these high-profile cases, celebrity lawyer who loses all of his cases. So they go out and hire Benjamin Crump right away. And just for another parallel, DJ Screw. His name equals 44, fateful artist name. What just happened to George Floyd? he was reportedly killed by a 44-year-old police officer in Minneapolis on the 44th parallel. Remember, officers 44, executions 44, kills also 44. When you run execution in reverse, it's 46, like raps 46, like sacrifices 46. And did I forget to put that up here? Oh, it's right down here. All right, so we'll get to the 46s in just a moment. But again, he reportedly died on 38th Street, rapper 38, death 38, murder 38, killing 38, RIP 38. He's 46 years old, from Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas 46, sacrifice 46, rap 46, chaos 46, order out of chaos, the agenda. The chaos goes without saying. At this point, we were pointing this out before the rioting started. And by the way, they said he was killed on 38th in Chicago. Chicago also has that 46 connection. Perfect place for the 46-year-old rapper to die, 38th in Chicago. And again, that movie poster, Murder by Numbers. Only 2 letters are changed to numbers. The E's changed to a 3. The B's changed to an 8. 3883. And Murder's 38 the small way, 83 the big way. The song Murder by Numbers by the band The Police came out in 1983. Sandra Bullock's the star of that movie, 83. And Sandra Bullock, if you look it up, she turned 38 years old right after that movie came out. Sandra Bullock turned 38 years old. I think it was a month or 2 after the movie came out. So the same year the film released, she turned 38. Perfect. And again, if you're not familiar with the song Murder by Numbers by the Police, it alludes to this knowledge of gematria. Murder by Numbers, I'm just going to read the lyrics because I can't sing. Once that you've decided on a killing, first you make a stone of your heart, and if you find that your hands are still willing, then you can turn a murder into art. There really isn't any need for bloodshed. You just do it with a little more finesse. If you can slip a tablet into someone's coffee, then it avoids an awful lot of mess. It's Murder by Numbers, 1, 2, 3. It's as easy to learn as your ABCs. And again, Murder equals 83. This song came out in 1983. If you watch the full video of the George Floyd killing, the police cruiser that he's being, essentially murdered by is not the police cruiser to look at. That one's number 320. But when they show the police cruiser down at the end of the block, when the camera moves and shows the other one on the corner, you'll see the number on that police car is 830. 830. Murder 83. The Police, Murder by Numbers, out in 1983. Prince, a musician from Minnesota, recorded the song I Would Die For You in 1983. And what day did he die? He died on 4/21. How did he write the song? With the number 4 and the letter U. U is the 21st letter. So I Would Die For You is I Would Die 4/21, which is exactly what he did 33 years later, April 21st, 2016. Prince on the Queen's birthday. But the lyrics then go, now if you have a taste for this experience, if you're flushed with your very first success, then you must try a twosome or a threesome. You'll find your conscience bothers you much less. Because murder is like anything you take to. It's a habit-forming need for more and more. You can bump off every member of your family and anybody else you find a bore. Because it's Murder by Numbers 1, 2, 3, it's as easy to learn as your ABCs. Murder by Numbers 1, 2, 3, it's as easy to learn as your ABCs. Now you can join the ranks of the illustrious in history's great dark hall of fame. All our greatest killers were industrious, at least the ones that we all know by name. But you can reach the top of your profession if you become the leader of the land. For murder is the sport of the elected, and you don't need to lift a finger of your hand. And then it goes, because it's Murder by Numbers 1, 2, 3, it's as easy to learn as your ABCs. And if you haven't listened to the song, look up some of the live performances of the song, because I was about to say Prince. Sting, who's the frontman for the Police, he talks about this song often before he sings it, and he likes to give himself credit for writing the lyrics. And keep in mind, when Sting's music career blew up, both his parents died. His mother and father both died at the same time that he became a famous singer. So if you're new here, something I've been talking about for years is all these unsolved murders of rappers, especially in this age of cameras everywhere and surveillance everywhere and police everywhere. I've been saying, like, who's really doing this killing? You know, it's the police that are saying they can't figure out who did it. They can't come up with any suspects. Could it be the police themselves who are responsible for the killing? I mean, I've been saying this for years. And again, I still can't make sense of this video. The cop knows he's on camera. The guy's not resisting at all. Everyone around the scene doesn't seem to... It seems like an act. I mean, I still look at it the same way. And, you know, where's the other cops? In this kind of altercation, more police are going to be called in. You should hear sirens coming in the background. You should see other police officers coming on the scene to block out. None of these things are happening. So none of this seems like... None of it seems realistic. It seems like it's a truly contrived scene. That said, it is possible that this really did happen, that this all went down just as it was, and maybe it was a special ritual. It seemed that George Floyd was under some kind of subdued state from some sort of chemical substance, and since we don't know what was really going on, you know, it's just like I say, these entertainers who drop dead and they say they overdose. What if the whole thing, what if like he was set up? What if he was given something that kind of put him in a non-functional state? It's hard to say all what was going on, but if this man really was murdered, this looks like all the other entertainer deaths by the numbers now too, because I did not realize this man was part of the entertainment industry, which he was. He wasn't a big name, but still, he got to be associated with a household name, DJ Screw. This was something I was not aware of. But this is very curious, especially with the 38 and 46, which again, for anyone who's been around, you know how often we talk about these numbers and rappers and entertainers as well, not just rappers, but so often with rappers, because the numbers 38 and 46, not only do they correspond with murder and killing and death, but they correspond with the genre of music, rap and rapper. And that's the first point I wanted to make. The other thing that I meant to cover this morning was this. I brought this up in the live stream the other day, how a year ago in May, there was a similar story, but the roles were changed, and it didn't get nearly as much traction. But last year on May 15th, the Boule's birthday, May 15th, the Boule's birthday, last year on that date, there was the story out of Appleton, Wisconsin, of a black man getting off a bus, and then he was being assisted by first responders, and there ended up being an altercation, and the black man ended up firing a gun at the white first responders and killing one of them. And then J.J. Watt came in and donated all this money. And when we took apart that story, we pointed out how the story was synced up with the first preseason game of the Texans, who J.J. Watt plays for, who were facing the Packers. And that mattered because the shooter in the Wisconsin story was wearing an Aaron Rodgers jersey, the quarterback for the Packers. And we saw how this was one of these rituals. And again, for people who are new here, over the years, we have been showing how these types of stories are perfectly synced and coordinated with the world of sports. And by understanding these stories and what's encoded in them, you can see what the rigged outcomes of the sports games are going to be. Case in point, this same number, I'm just going to put it back up on the screen, 58. The season of Super Bowl 50, that year, there were all the shootings of young black men, middle-aged black men. I think that was also the year of the death of Sandy Bland, if I'm not mistaken. White officers killing black people, essentially for no reason. There were a lot of these stories, and teams started doing the hands up, don't shoot thing. The St. Louis Rams near where Michael Brown, the St. Louis Rams near Ferguson, Missouri, they were doing the hands up, don't shoot. And we caught on to the rituals, and we were able to project all of these things correctly in October of that football season. we were able to say, okay, it's all about white and black this year, and white police officers doing these things and getting acquitted. So what would be the perfect white versus black symbolism in the NFL? And we said, okay, the white Denver Broncos versus the black Carolina Panthers. And, that was Peyton Manning's farewell season, and it looked like they were going to write the storybook ending for him, even though he was throwing wounded ducks, which means you can't throw the ball anymore, wobbly passes as he threw all season. But anyway, we started to look at it, and I did some research, and I said, oh my God, look at this. I said, if Cam Newton starts in the Super Bowl versus Peyton Manning, he will be the 58th quarterback in the history of the NFL to start in a Super Bowl. And the reason that mattered is because the name Huey P. Newton equals 58. And Huey P. Newton established the Black Panther Party in the Bay Area, where Super Bowl 50 was going to be, hosted by San Francisco. San Francisco equals 50. But Huey P. Newton equals 58. Oakland equals 58. Huey P. Newton established the Black Panther Party in Oakland. And I said, how perfect would it be if Cam Newton, with the Black Panther on his helmet, is facing the Denver Broncos with Von Miller, number 58 on the other side, who was drafted one pick after Cam Newton, who was in the same draft as Colin Kaepernick, which we'll also get to, who was drafted by the 49ers on a trade with the Denver Broncos. Anyway, I said in October, here's my prediction. Broncos over Panthers, Von Miller the MVP, Black Panther tribute, and a tribute to Super Bowl 24, because the 49ers wasted the Broncos in Super Bowl 24. Well, what ended up happening? The Broncos beat the Panthers. Von Miller was the MVP. Beyonce was criticized as dressing as a Black Panther at halftime. And the Denver Broncos won with 24 points. Like how they got wasted by the 49ers in Super Bowl 24, 55-10. And Cam Newton did become the 58th quarterback to start in a Super Bowl, when in this same cipher, Huey P. Newton equals 58. And back then, the only ciphers I knew were the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules numerology. So I knew less back then, but it was still enough to see the riddles. And so anyway, last year, well, we'll get to last year's story in just a moment, but last year when the story unfolded, I said, just watch, this is going to be synced with this coming NFL season. And sure enough, it was, which I'm going to show you again. And I guarantee you right now, guarantee is not a light word that I use. I guarantee you this entire Benjamin Crump story will be synced up with the NFL season ahead, and very likely the NBA season when it resumes. And possibly the MLB season, since the Minnesota Twins are there. They're a contender in baseball right now. Again, this happened during the time of Gemini, the Twins, Steven Jackson, the NBA player, came out. But this is what mainstream is when you learn to see what it really is. Mainstream news is bullshit. Sports are completely rigged and scripted. Politics is all rigged bullshit. And when you learn this code, you see. Part of the way that we just called the Nationals to beat the Astros in Game 7 this year, which we did and helped a lot of people win a ton of money, and we called that before the playoffs began in the end of September. But part of the reason we were able to see that narrative was because of the Steve Scalise shooting. Remember that, when supposedly a guy shot Steve Scalise at the Republican baseball practice, which was all bullshit? That story was synced up with the World Series. What you get in the mainstream is bullshit, scripted bullshit that are riddles that are connected to everything else in the world of bullshit, which is the world of mainstream, which is the world where the mind of the masses lives. Living in the bullshit, not seeing through the bullshit. So I just want to talk about this J.J. Watt piece. Then we're going to go back to last year's story, May of 2019, which was similar to this story, which was part of the NFL narrative. And then we're going to again look at this year's story. So J.J. Watt has weighed in on this. Notice the emphasis. It's disgusting. J.J. Watt responds to video of George Floyd's death, just like how he was part of the black man killing the white first responder story last year in the month of May. And we'll look at last year's story and how this same number was part of last year's story. It's disgusting equals 84, J.J. Watt 84. And, I don't really care that much about this story, but here's what I want to remind you about. It's just the fact that J.J. Watt's connected again. So remember, this upcoming NFL season will conclude with Super Bowl 55. This ritual goes down in Minneapolis, which equals 55. And of course, the Vikings are one of the best teams in the NFC right now. So Minneapolis 55, 49ers is 55, and that matters because LeBron James came out and compared this incident, kneeling on the man's neck, to Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. And if you watch the live stream we did the first night of this story, one of our callers called in and thought that this was a parallel and a connection before LeBron James even put it out there. And again, that's because the people in this community, we've been doing this for years. We know what's up. We know how they script it. People call in and are the same people who are aware of this knowledge and have been making money off this knowledge for years, taking advantage of the rigged sports by seeing through the bullshit news. And these are just facts. So if you want to sit there on the sidelines on your hands and think like, oh, I don't know, just realize your I don't knows are too bad. You wouldn't know. You probably would have known years ago if I hadn't been flushed down the toilet 19 times by YouTube, because I'd have a channel with 10,000 videos, literally with 1,000 correct predictions on there. And I don't make a prediction in every video. The point is there'd be 1,000 correct predictions from sports to news stories to everything else coming next, because that's what we've been doing for 7 years straight. But anyway, LeBron James comes out and compares this to Colin Kaepernick, who was playing for the 49ers, which was all part of it was all connected to the Super Bowl 50 riddle, because it happened, during the preseason after Super Bowl 50, which was hosted by the 49ers. It was the year of the Summer Olympics. Colin Kaepernick was compared to the 1968 Black Panthers at those Olympic Games in Mexico City, protesting the flag. There was a whole lot of ritual to it. Muhammad Ali died that summer, who protested. Huge ritual, a lot to go back over. But look at this. The day that George Floyd was killed, May 25th, that was the 146th day of the year, because it's a leap year, 2020. Colin Kaepernick equals 146. Colin Kaepernick blackballed from the NFL for taking a knee. It's all part of a script. For anyone who ever watched Colin Kaepernick play football, he wasn't a football player. Maybe he should have been a wide receiver, but he rolled out the wrong way every time. His mechanics were all wrong. He took forever to throw the ball. He was fast, but he just wasn't a quarterback. Just go back and watch Colin Kaepernick highlights. You'll see him roll out the wrong way against his body every time. He should have never even been the starting quarterback of the 49ers. And don't tell me that he got the 49ers to the Super Bowl against the Ravens in the Harbaugh Bowl, where John equals 47 and John Harbaugh won Super Bowl 47 after the 33-minute blackout, which was all ritual. But the point is, the 49ers, it's all scripted. I don't really want to argue about it. But just remember, Alex Smith was the number 1 rated passer in the NFL before his injury, and Kaepernick took over. Anyway, doesn't matter. Kaepernick, he's making more money now as a protester than he did with his NFL contract anyway, all the money Nike paid him. So anyhow, Colin Kaepernick, all part of this theater, now being brought into this with the knee. And again, just the perfect day to do the ritual. 146. And that matters because the flag's birthday is June 14th, a date written 14/6. Like United Kingdom equals 146. And remember what happened a couple years ago on June 14th? Might have been 3 or 4 years ago now. But that's when they had the apartment fire in the United Kingdom. Apartment fire equals 146. United Kingdom 146. Actually, that must have been June of 2017, because my channel got deleted right after I covered that. Now I remember. But anyway, look at this. This upcoming season, Super Bowl 55, right? The ritual in Minneapolis, 55. 49ers, 55. They brought into this through King James. King James equals 55. LeBron James is a member of the Boule, like Benjamin Crump, the lawyer. Boule's 55. Sigma Pi Phi is 55. Wisconsin's 55. That's where the ritual went down last year, which we're about to look at. And in light of him being killed on 38th Street and this all being part of a riddle for the upcoming Super Bowl, don't forget that this Super Bowl 55 will also be on the 38th day of the year. The last time the Super Bowl was on the 38th day of the year was Super Bowl 50. And that was the one where the team from Colorado won. Colorado equals 38. Colorado's the 38th state in the order of statehood, Super Bowl 50. And when you think about it, what's interesting, I remember Panthers equals 38 as well. The Panthers lost in Super Bowl 38 to the Patriots, and then they lost in the last Super Bowl on the 38th day of the year. But Minnesota's also 38. And realize, I'm not saying that Minnesota's going to be in the Super Bowl, but their season is going to be a part of the Super Bowl narrative. And I'm going to make this very clear how this works with what I show you with what happened with the Wisconsin incident last year and what happened with this past year's Super Bowl winner, the Chiefs. Also, I brought up the first night that this happened that this could be related to the NBA season and Kobe Bryant's death because the Lakers are originally from Minneapolis. And it was brought to my attention that after Eric Garner died, Kobe Bryant and the Lakers wore I Can't Breathe t-shirts. Lakers originally from Minneapolis. Now we got I Can't Breathe back again. I Can't Breathe equals 74. It's the 74th NBA season. and don't be surprised if the NBA season resumes on July 4th. Don't be surprised at all, because that's the way these people roll. But I Can't Breathe equals 74. It's now the 74th NBA season. If you're new here, I always talk about how they bring 74 and 33 together. Kobe equals 33. And I've always explained the reason they do it is because with the alphabetic order. Jesus is 74, Messiah is 74, Gospels 74, Parables is 74, Cross is 74, Jesus on the cross at 33. Out of the 50 states, only one sums to 74. Oregon, the 33rd state. George Washington equals 74. They say George Washington had 74 generals. 33 of them were Masons. Masonic 74, Masonry 33. They just did the 74 ritual with the death of Ahmaud Arbery and his killers being arrested 74 days later. But I Can't Breathe 74, 74th NBA season. Minneapolis, the original home of the Lakers. The land of 10,000 lakes. Kobe dead during the 74th NBA season. Don't forget Zion Williamson equals 74. From Kobe's death to George Floyd's death is a span of 121 days. Blood sacrifice equals 121 and 67. Kobe died in Calabasas, which equals 67. On a date with 67 numerology, things we covered then. He died in L.A. L's the 12th letter. A's the first. L, 12, A1, 12, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. Okay, now let's go back to what happened last May that's just like this. Well, it's not just like this story, but it's the same type of story. It's a black and white killing story. It's a black man and it's a first responder. And this was the story. Body cam video of shooting that killed Appleton, Wisconsin firefighter Mitch Lundgaard. Law enforcement officials released findings of their investigation. So the killing was May 15th, and then they released the body cam footage in June. And this was the story right here. And you can go back and watch this. I mean, you want to see a bullshit, poorly acted scene, go back and watch this. Completely contrived. Law enforcement officials in Appleton, Wisconsin released new details below Thursday of the investigation into the May 15th, that's the Boule's birthday. Kobe Bryant was Boule, so was his father. That's why this year on May 15th, they released the autopsy report of Kobe Bryant. They released Kobe's autopsy report on May 15th, 2020. That was the first day of the 117th year of the Boule's existence, and autopsy equals 117. But anyway, this story's from last year, May 15, 2019, shooting that left Appleton firefighter Mitch Lundgaard dead. Police body-worn camera video was also released above. So the reason you're not seeing above and below is because I clipped that out of the article. Last year when we broke this down, we watched the video. You can go back and watch it on your own time. But realize, the killer, I have a picture of the shooter. Here he is right here. This is the supposed shooter, a black man in a number 12 jersey, right? And the story was that the first responders were trying to help him with this problem he had on the bus, and then he got angry, and then he started shooting at him. I mean, the story just made no sense. But in light of the man killed being killed by a man in an Aaron Rodgers jersey, notice that the man killed, his name is the same as Aaron Rodgers, 135 and 63. And if you guys are new here, you should if you type in Zachary K. Hubbard on Google, that's my name, you'll see a video with Aaron Rodgers doing his the belt celebration thing. Just listen to that video if you get a minute. But I called the NFL after their massive 63 ritual, which was one of the biggest gimme games of all-time history. It was the Packers versus the Niners in this huge 63 ritual with Aaron Rodgers. He picked up his 63rd career home win on a 63-date numerology. And I'm trying to remember what the score of the game was. It might have been 33-30. But anyway, the point is these numbers matter to these people and their scripted careers. Now, the name Mitch Lundgaard mattered because it equaled 243, and we're going to see how this number played out with the NFL season and the Texans and the Packers 243 days later. But just like I was saying when the story happened, I said, just watch this NFL season. This story will be part of the scripted NFL season. And sure enough, it was. The Packers' new coach for the season was Matthew Patrick LaFleur, 243, which was fitting because last year's NFL season took place during the 243rd year of the nation's existence. The nation will turn 244 years old on July 4th this year. So this was a significant number. Remember, Kobe Bean Bryant's 243 as well. He died 243 days after Jerry West's 81st birthday. Kobe Bean Bryant also 81. They're talking about making the logo into Kobe Bryant instead of Jerry West. But these numbers have mattered in a lot of ways. It was pointed out, I believe, by Bobby Simpson, maybe Rambo. It was either Bobby or Rambo. I'll give credit to both of them. They both do great work. But it was pointed out that there was this relationship with 243 and 54 because Venus orbits the sun every 224.7 Earth days with a rotation speed of 243 Earth days. And Venus equals 54, and last year was the year of Super Bowl 54. And by being aware of that, we talked about how the magic square of Venus, which is something you can look up, the magic square of Venus is a 7 by 7 square. And one of the reasons we took the Chiefs to beat the 49ers was because we saw that if the Chiefs beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl, they would be 7-7 against them all time, and Jimmy Garoppolo 77 plus a few other things. But anyway, these numbers mattered. Last year was the year of Super Bowl 54. Joe Montana equals 54. He played for the 49ers and Chiefs. He wore 19 for the Chiefs. The Chiefs won in the 2019 season. But again, this was the story. The black man gets off the bus, right? Bus 42, like how it's coded all over black history. And if I remember right, they said that this man was 59 years old. If I'm not mistaken, they said this man was 59 years old as well. Oh, maybe it wasn't that. It happened on a date with 59 numerology. They might have also said he was 59 years old, but it happened on a date with 59 numerology. Again, Negro Slave Blues 59, just like how what just happened in Minneapolis was 59 days from the mayor's birthday, and the mayor happens to be 38 years old at the time. Mayor of Minneapolis. And did anyone see the mayor of Minneapolis speaking on the killing? He's acting like he's all sympathetic, and then he'll pause and he'll look down at the paper and read his notes. It's like, Jesus, how unscripted these people have to be. You can't just get up in front of a microphone and a camera and just say that you feel bad about a man being killed, murdered, for no reason. Why do you need to look down and read off a piece of paper to express how you're upset about what you saw in the police officer's behavior? You know what I mean? And you'll notice this all the time with these politicians who get up with these scripted stories. Can't you just say something that should just be so simple to express without reading off the piece of paper? And I guarantee you the reason they have to read off the piece of paper is because I guarantee if you could see their notes that are down below, there's probably certain phrases on there that are emphasized that they're supposed to use. Certain words, certain phrasing, so that they can become the news headlines with the emphasis around them and the coded numbers as we always see. But just pay attention. Why should you need to look down at a piece of paper, pause, and then get back to how you're upset about the way this police officer responded? Come on. Theater. But okay, going back to this incident last year. The shooting happened in Appleton, Wisconsin. Appleton, WIs, you'd write the location on an envelopes 139 like Green Bay, like Freemasonry, like Benjamin Crump. Again, the lawyer, the celebrity Boule lawyer. Appleton alone is 99, and last season was the Packers' 99th season. And remember that because I'm just going to show you how big of a ritual it was. One of the easiest games to call the divisional weekend of the playoffs was the Packers over the Seahawks, and we'll get to why that was. It had everything to do with this ritual in 99 and how it all synced up. But Appleton, Wisconsin also has Gematria with Super Bowl, so we knew that this story would be part of the Super Bowl narrative, which it was. And again, I'll explain how it all comes together. Wisconsin, where it happens, 44 like Packers, like shooting. When you write out 44, it equals 99. These numbers have a relationship in Gematria. And also just think about when you write out 44. You know how you can write the 44 with the connected way? A 4 can look a lot like a 9, which is interesting. But from the date of the shooting, May 15th, to the date of the Packers opener was 113 days, and that's the number of the Scottish Rite Freemasons. American football is credited to the Scottish Rite Freemason Walter Camp. And the Scottish Rite Freemasons logo is a capital G, like the Packers. If you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Scottish equals 103, and you'll recall that this game, Packers-Bears, the first game of last season, the Packers won 10-3, 103 days after the death of Bart Starr, their quarterback. 103 is the 27th prime number. All year you saw the commercial with Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes for State Farm. State Farm equals 103. 103 is the 27th prime by the Chiefs beating the 49ers. The AFC and NFC have now both won 27 Super Bowls apiece. All ritual. And these are things we caught on to after the first game of the season was played. If you were following us on Patreon, we said, okay, looks like it's the AFC's year. This 103 rituals locking in. There ended up being a lot more 103 rituals. The body cam footage for this story, it came out June 13th. The shooting May 15th, reportedly. The video footage June 13th. And that was 84 days before the season opener. Now, 84 mattered because Green Bay Packers equals 84, Masonry 84, J.J. Watt 84, as we just talked about. And J.J. Watt has Wisconsin connections. He ended up donating money to the family of Mitch Lundgaard. So we said, okay, Packer jersey, J.J. Watt of the Texans. Let's take a look at the NFL schedule. And by the way, Green Bay and Houston also have the Gematria of 77. And Bart Starr ended up dying 77 days before the anniversary of the Packers' establishment on August 11th. But what we saw right away is that the Texans and Packers played each other in the preseason on August 8th, 8-8. We said, okay, so they're thinking something up here. Now notice, from the date of the shooting, May 15th, to the Packers' establishment date, August 11th, was 88 days. And again, it's all rituals, significant dates, mapping out dates, recognizing the numbers, recognizing the patterns. So we knew there was something here with the Texans and the Packers. And here's how it came together. From the date of the shooting, May 15th, to January 12th was 243 days later. And remember, the man who was killed, Mitch Lundgaard, his name equaled 243. And what happened on January 12th was this. Do you remember this crazy game with the Chiefs and the Texans? The Texans were up 21-0 in the first quarter and ended up losing 51-31. Before these games were even played, we pointed out that 51 would likely be a big number for the weekend because it was the divisional round of the playoffs. Divisional equals 51. Houston Texans 51. They hosted Super Bowl 51. The Texans lost 31-51. Houston alone's 31. Chiefs is also 31, like how they won the Super Bowl with 31 points. If you remember, the score of the Super Bowl was 31-20. And one of the stories the day after the Super Bowl was that Morris Claiborne of the Chiefs, who wears number 20, his brother died at age 31. And Claiborne, who played for the Chiefs that won the Super Bowl, for college he played in LSU, who won the college championship this year. And by the way, in the fourth quarter of that game, LSU, they gave the numerology lesson on the death of Billy Cannon and the number 20. And Billy Cannon signed with LSU Billy Cannon died the exact same day that Joe Burrow signed with LSU, which mattered because Billy Cannon was the only LSU player to ever win the Heisman before Joe Burrow. And Billy Cannon also defeated Clemson in the college football championship in New Orleans, just like Joe Burrow did this year. And if you go back and watch that game, in the fourth quarter, they give a numerology lesson on the number 20 and the death of Billy Cannon. And death equals 20. And it's 2020. And then Morris Claiborne, number 20 of the Chiefs, loses his brother at age 31 the day after the Chiefs win the Super Bowl 31-20. But anyway, the score of this game, tribute to the team names, tribute to the divisional round, and you'll see that this is the way sports is every single year. When you know the code, you see right through what's really going on. The shape of the football is known as the Vesica Piscis, which also has Gematria of 82, like 82 combined points. It also equals 53, like 53-man roster, like 53-yard wide field. But that game, January 12th, between Houston and the Chiefs. Houston won 12, Chiefs won 12. This year, they're going to open the NFL season on September 10th, the day leaving 112 days left in the year. Not by accident, all by script. And the other thing that happened on January 12th was this. The Packers beat the Seahawks 28-23, 51 points. And think about it. The Packers advanced, right? The Packers advanced, and the Texans' season ended. Now, the shooting, remember, it involved two teams through the ritual. The Packers through the jersey worn by the shooter, and the Houston Texans because of J.J. Watt's donation to the family, which became part of the story. And the thing is, in history, the Houston Texans, long ago there used to be a team called the Dallas Texans. And the Dallas Texans folded, and they became the Kansas City Chiefs. And who did the Chiefs lose to in Super Bowl I? The Packers. So the Packers and the Chiefs have history. The Texans and the Chiefs have history. So this story was all about a riddle that had everything to do with the history of the NFL and the scripted outcome of this season. And don't forget, along the course of the season, there was the shooting at the Kansas City Casey Tequila Bar, and they said 5 people were shot and 4 were killed, and the name of the bar equaled 120, and it was a span of 120 days from the Super Bowl. If you didn't count the span, it was 119 days. Just like how after the Chiefs won to advance to the Super Bowl on January 19th, there was another shooting at a Kansas City bar on 119. Again, it's all riddle, you guys, news and sports. But the point is, they gave you a riddle last year. It was complicated. It was a lot more complicated than, say, the Super Bowl 50 riddle with, Cam Newton and the Black Panthers. But it was all there, and they did sync it up. The weekend, the Texans got eliminated by the Chiefs. The Packers advanced. So the two teams that moved on in these games were the Chiefs, who had a relationship with the historical Texans, and the Packers. They moved on to the conference championship. And then the next weekend, the Texans went, not the Texans, but the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl, and the Packers lost to the 49ers. And keep in mind, Chiefs equals 50, San Francisco equals 50. The Chiefs won their first Super Bowl in 50 years. The last time they'd won the Super Bowl was Super Bowl IV over the Minnesota Vikings. And now we're talking about a ritual in Minneapolis, right? Minneapolis. This is how it all connects. There's a saying out there. What is it? Like, how's it go? What a web we weave when we attempt to deceive, something like that. I know that phrase is out there, but that's what this is. This is all deception. It is a spider web of deception. And in a way, it's also what they do. I mean, it's brilliant in a sick way. But, this happened exactly 243 days after the story that had us watching the Packers and Texans and how the riddles would unfold with their season. So, by the way, the Packers won with 28 points, Packers 28. Again, it's just It's this way every single week when you know Gematria. You're like, look at how they do the score. And remember, there's 4 base ciphers. That's why you want these 4 base ciphers. You really see how it works in sports. That way it's like, oh, they won with their number this week, then they won with their other number the next week, and then, oh, this week they combined the scores to equal their number. It's just... Oh, and by the way, there were a few things that made it really easy to call the Packers over the Seahawks in that game, but one of them was that Pete Carroll, we saw that Pete Carroll could pick up his 99th loss in that game, which he did. Pete Carroll, the coach of the Seahawks, got his 99th loss in this game, where the shooting was in Appleton 99, 243 days earlier with Mitch Lundgaard. You see? So I remember this weekend, I said the easiest parlay this weekend is to take the Packers over the Seahawks, and I think the 49ers beat the Vikings that weekend as well. But we knew that the Packers and 49ers were going to face each other. It was written in stone. And again, I'm pretty sure that the 49ers did beat the Vikings that weekend. So again, Minneapolis 55, 49ers 55, how all these riddles come together. Pete Carroll stayed on 144 wins as well. And when you write out 44, it equals 144 and 99. Remember, shooting equals 44. Seattle also equals 44, so fitting record for Pete Carroll to have as the coach of Seattle in this ritual. I've always called the Seahawks the Packers farm team. Those teams have a lot of history. So from Matt Hasselbeck to Mike Holmgren to the reason the Seahawks got Marshawn Lynch. But that's how they do it. Sports and news. It's all a script. And, I just thought of another thing. Another 38 word in light of the killing being on 38th Street. Remember, this happened with Trayvon Martin, and then it became a big thing with LeBron James, who led the hoodie movement. Hoodie equals 38, like Trayvon's 38, like Florida's 38. So, anyhow, wanted to cover that in the earlier presentation I did today, and maybe it's better I forgot because it might have made the video too long. Maybe it's better to break it up. But I definitely wanted to cover these pieces. The George Floyd and DJ Screw thing and the police murder by numbers. And this thing with J.J. Watt becoming involved again. Because as soon as I saw that, I said, okay, here we go. This really is deja vu. J.J. Watt's going to weigh in on the May Black vs. White sequel. And this is just how they do it. It's how they do it. So, again, learn the code, see through the deception, break away from the matrix, and maybe earn a few extra bucks off the rigging, because you really can. So, I've been putting together a little playlist for George Floyd, and there are some things that I regret saying in some of these videos. I put out some bad information early on because I thought it was really bizarre that the police officer plate says police. I've never seen that in any city or state I've ever been to, but I guess they do that in Minneapolis. And we had our caller from Minnesota call in that night, the night of the first stream, and correct us and say, yeah, we actually do put police on the plate here. So I thought that was bizarre. And it still is kind of bizarre, but that is what they do in Minneapolis. They do put police on the plate. And I guess the other thing I regret is that, I was so adamant that the whole thing is just a contrived scene, which it very well might be, but I could be wrong about that. And now that I know that he's a musician, I just wonder. Maybe they really did do a ritualistic killing in a controlled area. Maybe it was the Masonic hot corner or something. I mean, it's possible. It's all the numbers that we see in these dead rappers again and again. I did not realize that this man had any connections to the entertainment industry, but now, knowing that, I'm thinking, well, maybe this really is the most blatant thing, just to really piss people off and provoke them as they have. Because, again, what's different about this psyop is for the first time the video is actually clear, so you can actually see it and it doesn't look like it's from 30 years ago. Plus, it's just so awful. Because the guy truly isn't resisting or fighting back at all. He's just saying he's in pain. Get off me. And the officer's just sitting there for no reason like a schmuck. And again, nothing really adds up with the scene, but anything's possible. So Yeah. For people who can't see that this is a psyop, though, I mean, that's just too bad. And for my man True Theorisy out there, if you watch this video, I just got to say, True Theorisy, I still got love for you, man, but seriously, cheering on the looting and the burning of the buildings, again, refresh your memory and go back to what happened in Ferguson. This is all a psyop. They burned the auto parts store in Ferguson first, just like they burned the auto parts store in Minneapolis. This is all a ritual, and just like they bust in the protesters in Ferguson and Baltimore after Freddie Gray, they probably did it in Minneapolis too. I know that he knows the signs too. I mean, did he not see that the first resistance was on 33rd Street East? But come on, man, don't be cheering this crap on. And yeah, this is what they want. We don't want chaos on their terms. So that's not going to help anything. But True Theorisy still does good work, but I did see that he got taken by two recent police psyops. He got taken by the Good Samaritan cop in the coronavirus who raised $1 million on 5/6, and yeah, he's making a video cheering this on. I was like, come on, man. It's okay. I can forgive True Theorisy. I know he's not a shill, but I guess everybody makes mistakes, so... All right, you guys. Oh, there's a few more super chats, too. All right, thank you guys for the donations again. You really don't have to. Especially you, Dana. Dana, hit me up. If you need some more for your sign business, I got some orders for you. But, and by the way, you guys, I did the video. I should just do another video for Dana's signs. Dana, single mom, big supporter in the community. She's making awesome truth signs. And when I do the top pinned post, I'll link Dana's email. She'll make a sign for you on anything, on any type of material. She's doing good work. She's trying to keep things afloat during the shutdown. But thank you, BK's loved one. He writes, rapper T.I. calls for spending boycott on 7/7, 42 days after this news went viral. He's calling it Blackout Day 2020, which equals 119 and 38. And I remember, I forget exactly what happened, but there was a T.I.-related shooting maybe 5 years ago, and that video surveillance came out, and they were all sitting in the room with the black and white Masonic checkerboard floor. It wasn't hard to see what was going on there. And a lot of people have dropped dead around T.I. over the years by the numbers. So, yeah, he's definitely one of their pawns. Remember, secret society equals 77. So 7/7, 42 days. And Dana says, how convenient that I can't breathe equals 74 exactly. The Masonic calling number. And Kathy... Come on, Kathy. You don't need to be donating. Kathy's here helping us every day. Kathy says, Big Floyd was his rap name, 44 in full reduction. Nice one. Derek Chauvin was 44, correct. The other cop, Tao Thao, has both 44 and 64 in his last name. By the way, I did watch the video again. I watched the video again. I think it's around the 7.5 minute mark of the 10-minute video that came out on May 26th of the killing. The guy who keeps saying, bro, you're a bum, bro, you're a bum, bro. That guy, around the 7.5 minute mark, he calls that cop, the Asian cop, by name. He says, come on, Tao, what are you doing, Tao? And it's like, wait a minute, how's he know his first name? How's he know that guy's first name? I guess his first and name both kind of look like Tao. I guess it's possible, but I thought that was weird that he called out the cop by name. So, that's all I got for now, True Seeker. And again, I failed 2 times today. The book's coming along just well. Don't worry about that. But it is time to get back to the grindstone. So again, appreciate all of you guys. Please like and share if you can. If you're new here, highly suggest you subscribe and make sure you stay subscribed because you'll probably be unsubscribed within 48 hours. That's what YouTube tends to do to keep the channel down. You know, you got to ask yourself how the channel's been nearly to 100,000 subscribers 2 times, and then every time we try to come back, it takes forever just to get back to 10,000 subscribers. It's like, come on. But anyway, we'll leave it there, you guys. Back to writing. And I see Jay Wills just chipped in too. Thank you, Jay Wills. Adrian Broner said, call him twin same day as George Floyd died. So another reference to twin. And again, this is all coming during the time of Gemini, the twins. And remember, Gemini equals 39, George equals 39, Amy 39, New York 39. You had the other story in New York the exact same day. Well, not the exact same story, but the related story. The woman choking out her dog. So, and my man, again, I hope you got your things in the mail. I sent you the tracking code today, but you didn't have to do another super chat, man. I appreciate it. You already got a hoodie. If everybody got a hoodie, bought the book, man, we'd have this movement going. But a lot of you guys who donate a lot, I am very grateful for you guys. You guys make up a huge portion of the funds we've raised so far to get this movement to where it needs to be. So he says, good stream. The hoodie thing was not a customer complaint, by the way. Well, it's a fair customer complaint, man. If I missed your thing, I apologize. I've been sending out everybody's hoodie as soon as the order comes in. I don't know how I missed yours. So if there's anybody else out there that I missed a hoodie, I apologize. Please get in contact with me. I will ship it to you ASAP. I don't think I have, though. I've been staying on top of it. Anyway. Okay, you guys. We'll leave it there. And again, appreciate all of you. Till next time.